So N7 Day has come and gone, and it was a pretty light one this year, which was to be expected after the recent release of Dragon Age the Veilguard, but there was one bit of news that was revealed. The Amazon Mass Effect series is finally confirmed. Getting this show off the ground has been in the works for the last few years, with the first bit of news going back as far as 2021. But if you've already seen the announcements, you might already be aware that some fans of the series are a bit concerned. However, before we get into the finer details of this, I want to say that I am really excited about this. I've been wanting a show or a movie from the Mass Effect series for a long time. Mass Effect is one of my most favourite franchises. I've sunk many hours and multiple playthroughs across all of the games. I've read the comics, I've read the books, so an adaptation finally hitting the silver screen is something I've been waiting for a long time. Added to all of that is the fact that it's been made by Amazon, who have a strong track record when it comes to successful shows, including ones based off of video games. And look, I'm going to be fully honest and say I had very little hope for the Fallout series, but after its release it's considered one of the best video game adaptations by pretty much everyone, including myself. I absolutely love it. So right off of the bat, the series already has something going for it. It's made by a company that has a track record for not only good video game adaptations, but just good shows in general. As for those who are actually working on the show, Daniel Casey is set to be the writer as well as one of the executive producers, while Kareem Zirik, Ari Arad and BioWare's Michael Gamble will all have the role of executive producer. But unfortunately, it's these names, and at least some of them, that have me and some other people a little bit worried. Daniel Casey's list of credentials is unfortunately quite short. He's worked as a writer, director and producer across a few projects, including The Death of Michael Smith, 10 Cloverfield Lane, which he did a few rewrites on, and Fast and Furious 9. Now, despite being a short list, Casey does have a few good writing credits under his belt. Many of his shows have been well received and he has won some awards for them, but his last project was Fast and Furious 9, and it's not like that series is well known for its incredible writing. Now, I know the Fast and Furious franchise has its fans, and I've never actually seen any of the movies myself, but a quick search did show me that Fast and Furious 9 script wasn't the best received. But as I said, his other projects have done really well, he's won multiple awards, so maybe Fast and Furious 9 was just a fluke. Any Mass Effect adaptation needs a good and rich story. A story that is full of depth, emotion and incredibly beautifully written characters. If the story and characters aren't done well, then nothing else matters. Doesn't matter how well the effects are, doesn't matter how good the costumes are, score will not matter, because in the end, the Mass Effect series is all about the story and the characters, and if they're not written well, nobody's going to care about the rest. Kareem Zirik has worked as a producer on quite a few projects, including Marvel's Netflix shows like Daredevil, The Punisher and Jessica Jones. Outside of these Netflix ones, he's also worked on a few other Marvel projects, including Legion, Hellstorm and Cloak and Dagger. Now, other than Iron Fist, the Netflix Marvel stuff did really well, as has his other work, but I do have to wonder how much of that is just Marvel magic. Not all the Netflix shows are from that time period when just everything Marvel put out was really well loved, but a lot of his stuff does have really good reviews, so I've got a good bit of faith in him. And then there's Ari Arad, probably the name that has most of us worried. Ari Arad has been a producer on Ghost in the Shell, Uncharted and the Borderlands movie, and yet all of that makes me really worried. These weren't good movies. The less said about Uncharted and Borderlands the better, especially Borderlands, which should have been an easy slam dunk, but you know, maybe he'll turn things around. Maybe. A video game adaptation, especially one based off a well-loved franchise, can go either way. For every Fallout, Detective Pikachu or The Last of Us, there's a Hitman, a Halo or a Borderlands. Now, thankfully, Mike Gamble is attached to the project, and while I don't want to put everything on him, I do unfortunately have to hope he'll be listened to when it comes to the decisions that are being made. Gamble has been involved in the Mass Effect series since Mass Effect 2, so he knows the franchise very well, he knows what makes it work, and he knows what's important to the fans. And he is currently the project director for the series, so he does have a lot of control over the series, at least when it comes to the stuff being done directly by BioWare. Now, Gamble does have the role of executive producer, and I would worry that that could just be a superficial title that could mean nothing, but it is the same position that Todd Howard has for the Fallout show. And I have found a few quotes to say Howard played a big role in making the Fallout show, so hopefully Amazon will look at this and give Gamble the same level of trust and responsibility as they did with Howard. I really want the Mass Effect show to succeed. I want this show to take the franchise in other directions, because if it is successful, it would lead to a lot more success for the games, and this could let EA give BioWare a lot more resources and support in the future. And maybe even this could lead to Dragon Age getting its own TV deal. I really want this Mass Effect show to be a success, but I know we've been burned before when it comes to video game adaptations. I really was looking forward to the Uncharted movie when it was first announced, and while I didn't hate it, I barely liked it. And while I didn't care about the Borderlands movie, I really thought it should have been an easy win, and my god, did that movie just suck. A final bit of news before I go into what I think the series could be about is this post from John Cena of all people on Instagram. It shows male Shepard along with several Mass Effect 2 squad mates. Now, I haven't been able to find anything on if Cena enjoys Mass Effect, but I know he's mentioned in the past that he enjoys gaming, so maybe this is him just showing his support for a game he likes. But with the announcement of the show, the timing is just a bit off. I think it would be too early for him to be attached to the project, so maybe this is him just trying to show off that he is interested in the show. But he did work with Casey on Fast and Furious 9, so maybe there's an in that way as well. I know some people online have expressed that they're not too enthusiastic about him possibly being attached to the show, but honestly, I think he's a pretty good actor. He's definitely one of the better wrestler turned actors out there. Probably maybe second to Dave Bautista, maybe. Definitely better than The Rock anyway. I think he's shown a good bit of diversity in his acting roles, and I think he really does give every role his all. I could see Cena playing a hard-ass Alliance Marine, or maybe voicing a Krogan, maybe Rex if he's in the show. Now, I don't want him to be playing Shepard, and I have two reasons for this. The first is because I don't know if the main game should be adapted into a show, and secondly, if they are going to be adapted into the show, I would rather see Fem Shep than Male Shep. When I think of Commander Shepard, I think of Fem Shep first. I love Mark Meer, I love the performance he gives as Male Shepard, but anytime someone mentions Commander Shepard, I see the default female Shepard and I hear Jennifer Hale's voice. But as I said, we really need to think, are we going to see an adaptation of the main games? Will we even see Shepard again? Because trying to recreate Shepard and, in massive quotations, canonize the world of Mass Effect would be incredibly difficult. Everyone is very attached to their idea of what their perfect Shepard and their perfect world state is. And even if what the show creates is just canon for the show and not the games, I know it would still rile a lot of people up. Maybe an adaptation of the games could work further down the line after the next Mass Effect game comes out, but maybe not. I don't know. But I do have a few ideas of what I think the show could be about. One idea would be for the show to have nothing to do with the games whatsoever. Have them take place in a different part of the galaxy at a different time period. Have entirely new characters and a completely new storyline that is 100% disconnected from the games. Another option they could do would be to pick a historic event from the franchise, like the First Contact War or the Skillian Blitz. Both of these events happen long before the games take place, so they are fully 100% canon for everyone. No one really gets to affect how they happened. Another way would be to adapt the novels. The novels are really good, really interesting. We would get to follow characters that we do know from the games, but a lot of these novels are used as supporting stories for the games, so that might not really work. They might use the series as a prequel to Mass Effect 5, like they did with the podcast Dragon Age Vows and Vengeance, or just do what Fallout did and create an entirely new story within the world. As for me, I'd either like a completely new and original story like with Fallout, or to see the First Contact War. I think the First Contact War would work really, really well, as it would be a good starting off point for new fans. The show could start a little bit before the war, where we just follow some human characters, so we get to see what the Alliance is all about, what humanity is up to in this time period. And then when the war is introduced, you use that as a way to expand out the universe for future seasons or maybe spin-off shows. But what do you guys think? Do you think Shepard can be adapted? I do have an idea how I'd like to see it done, but I know it wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea. Maybe I'll make my own video about that later on though. And if you did like this video, please do give it a like and a comment, because it really helps the channel grow and it motivates me to make more videos. You can let me know your thoughts on the show, who's involved, as long as you keep it respectful, what you think it could be about, and of course what John Cena's whole deal is. You can also follow me over on Twitter and on Medium, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on everything I have going on, and of course, thanks for watching.